Okay, so our next problem is evaluating an expression again, but this one is a little more involved. So we're going to say we've got 3 plus 5 times parentheses x minus 9 raised to the 5th power. And we're supposed to evaluate this for x equals 7. Okay, again, the instructions are to evaluate the expression. We are not told to solve for x. They already told us what x is. We just need to evaluate when x is 7. So we'll go in and replace this x with a 7. So our first step is just to rewrite the whole problem, but we're going to write 7 in place of that x. So we have 3 plus 5 times the parentheses, 7 minus 9, raised to the 5th power. Now thinking of order of operations, we do parentheses first, then exponents, then add, subtract left to right, or multiply, divide left to right, sorry, and then add, subtract left to right is the last thing. All right, so parentheses comes first. So in this parentheses, we have a 7 minus 9. So remember when you are subtracting integers or adding integers with opposite signs, you subtract the numbers, then take the sign of the larger value. So we compare 7 and 9. 9 is larger than 7, so we're going to take the sign of the 9. So it's a -2. If you're uncomfortable with adding and subtracting integers at all, just double check yourself on the calculator. Just take 7 minus 9 and see. It's -2. Now we're going to rewrite everything. So we'll bring down the 3, bring down the plus, bring down the 5. We still have the -2, which we put in parentheses so we don't drop any negatives, and it's still raised to the 5th power. Okay, now back to the order of operations. We did parentheses first. Now we do exponents next. So we have -2 raised to the 5th. Now, it's a common mistake is to just do the 2 to the 5th, but you can't just do the 2. The negative is also inside that parentheses. It's the -2 that is raised to the 5th. So -2 times -2 is +4. Times another -2 is -8. Times another -2 gives you a +16. Times another -2 gives you a -32. Again, if you're uncomfortable with that, type it into your calculator, but make sure you use parentheses, -2 raised to the 5th power. And we'll bring down the 3, bring down the plus, bring down the 5. Now, the next thing we do in the order of operations is we multiply or divide left to right. So there's a multiplication here. We have a 5 times -32. When you have a number right next to a parentheses, that is an understood multiplication. Okay, you might have seen it in school before as having a little dot in there, but it automatically means multiplication when it's just a number right next to a parentheses. So we have a 5 times a -32. So we have a -160 here. Check my math. And then we'll bring down the 3. So we have 3 minus 160, giving us -157.